do a poem about something that happened to me a few weeks ago. It was my birthday, and my girlfriend decided to organise a party for me, like a surprise party. Has anyone ever had a surprise party? It's a pretty horrible thing. This is about my surprise party that was just before Christmas. It's you that I feel sorry for. You hired the room, and when none of my friends RSVP'd, you just assumed that I had two friends who were too cool to RSVP, and so ordered a finger buffet for 50. My surprise birthday party. 4 of us, me and you, your mum and dad. When I told you once that I don't like the idea of surprise parties, this is the kind of thing I had in mind. Maybe I wrote the wrong date on the invitation, you said, as the waiter offered us yet more crab sticks. But we both knew you'd have triple-checked. Not even Graham, you said. Graham plays squash on Tuesdays, I said, and blew out the candles on my cake. Under the table were bottles of wine, 30 red and 30 white. There wasn't even a chance to get a refund because the receipt was in your handbag that had been snatched that morning. By the time we sang the happy birthday song, the waiter was so pissed he will probably be fired. But anyone who can dance like that is wasted in catering. What's it like not to have any friends, your dad asked. And we all laughed, apart from your mum, who still had her coat on. Maybe there's just something good on the telly, he said. I've never liked your dad, but last night he played a blinder, juggling satsumas as we stared out of the window. It wasn't a special birthday, I was 29. A prime number, no one gets excited about prime numbers, but it reminded me of the time I was at Graham's house and I pulled down my trousers and pants and showed everyone the massive bruise on my knob. I just thought more people would be interested. Cool, thank you, Camden Crawl, Kentish Town Crawl. I'm going to do poetry that's it's called a univocalism. It's the most complicated form of poetry, and it only uses one vowel. And I've chosen the vowel E. So I've chosen the vowel E, since it has no words that contain A, I, O, or U. So this is called My Ex. It's about the first girl that I ever loved. We met when we were teens. She lent me her GCSE set texts. To get the idea, it's got one vowel, that vowel. Jenny's freckled cheeks were pretty, perfect teeth, jeweled belly, sexy legs. The weekend seemed endless when we were 17. Jenny's excellent between the sheets. Edgy, she left me endlessly erect. Her PVC dress sent me messy. She'd bend her knees, tenderly chew my bell end, then cry. She deserved better. She rejected me, tells me she detested me, tells me she needed her eyes tested. She left me empty, bereft. Depressed, my CDs helped. Shed 7, Sleeper, The Levelers, Gene, T-Rex, Nana Cherry, Wet, 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 The Pretenders, The Bee Gees, Led Zepp, Jeff Beck, R.E.M., Eels, Desiree, Mel B, Mel C. The New Seekers, that's about all I've got. Hefner. Then XTC. Then step by step my self-esteem grew. Then recently she tweeted me. Remember when we were 17, when we screwed by KFC, then fled when we'd been seen by CCTV. Let's meet, she begged. Je pense. Jenny Green, my sexy ex, relentless sex pest, zesty nymph, demented pervert. Okay, this is called Our Waitress is the Employee of the Month. Her photograph is in the foyer, and I imagine her pretending not to be bothered when it was announced at the team meeting, a semicircle of applause. But the next morning she'd have shown her mum the £20 high street voucher, and her mum will have said well done and meant it, because she knows it's important to appreciate the small things. And in town, our waitress will have gone from shop to shop, content that she didn't have to start work until 7:30, and trying on a maxi dress in River Island, she'd wonder if it was for the time she'd helped an amputee cut up his food, managing to strike the perfect balance between being too fussy and pretending she hadn't noticed. And she didn't even say anything like, should I help you with that? It was just this intuition that she didn't even realise that she had. And as she helped chop up his gammon and potatoes, he will have told her he was in town to see his daughter, who had just proposed to her boyfriend, taking advantage of the leap year, and he was so worried he wouldn't get on with his future son-in-law. And our waitress will have said, would you like a dessert? And he'd have said no, but she'd have said, oh, go on, because she knows it's important to appreciate the small things. And she'd smile as she saw him scoop up the last of his custards. And now our table is ready. And the four of us take our seats, and as she hands out the menus, puts serviettes on our knees, she must know that we know. We'd been in the foyer for so long, staring at her photograph, and I think, please, no one say anything. Don't let it be like when we saw Dame Judi Dench get out of her taxi by the Old Vic and we shouted, Judy, Judy, like paparazzi, until she turned and waved so awkwardly. Let's just be content that we are being served by the employee of the month. And as she brings out our plates of sea bass, we know that if any of us start to choke on a bone, we will feel her arms around us. Thank you. The year before last, Michael Jackson died. The year before last. And I was at Glastonbury when Michael Jackson died, which is a weird place to receive strange news. And this guy came up to me and a couple of people and said, hey guys, you know that Michael Jackson's dead? And I've been going to festivals for years, so I'm very familiar with the idea of the kind of celebrity death kind of conspiracy. It's like when I was at Leeds 99, someone said, do you know that Jimmy Hill died? And I was like, I just believed it because I thought no one would just make up that Jimmy Hill had died. But clearly these two guys had just gone, let's go and tell that guy that Jimmy Hill's dead. And so none of us believed that Michael Jackson had died, but the BBC website confirmed it for us. This is a poem about Michael Jackson, but it's not that Michael Jackson. It's a Michael Jackson that I used to go to school with. I used to play chess with a boy called Michael Jackson. He wasn't very good at chess, but that was the least of his problems. And I've always felt sorry for him, how he's had to go through life unable to answer the most basic question. What's your name? Michael Jackson. Imagine the quips, especially now, I thought you were dead. I've always thought about Michael Jackson on the phone to the BT help desk, and they say, can I take your name? And he says, Michael Jackson. And the silence, and he says, yes, like the singer. No, you're not the first person to mention it. Yes, it can be a bit annoying. No, I don't know what my parents were thinking. I guess they weren't familiar with the Jackson 5. My dad works 55 hours a week as a neurosurgeon, and my mum is a full-time carer for her brother who's got Down syndrome. They've been too busy to listen to disco. And I think of Michael Jackson getting ID'd in a club, and the bouncer checks his driving licence and calls over to his mates, this one's called Michael Jackson. And going on holiday, the man in the passport booth will say, can you do the moonwalk? And he'll say, no, I'm just trying to go on holiday with my wife. And they'll say, what, Lisa Marie Presley? And Michael Jackson will say, no, her name is Anne Jackson. Try making a joke out of that. But there are thousands of people who have to go through the same tedious conversations. People called Harry Potter and Katie Price and Julia Roberts and Steve Davis and David Dickinson and Mark Thatcher and Fred West and little Michael Jackson, who says, no, I'm not the singer, I'm just here for a game of chess.